thoughts here when it comes to this German-Italian forum. People, young leaders from the two countries having delivered on ideas on how both Germany and Italy can move Europe forward. This is the backdrop of our discussion. Does that square with what you've been doing over the past 48?
Extremely important, and I hope that our friends in Europe, in the European Union, and in our neighbor countries feel that the next government is a pro-European one with a strong pro-European commitment. And I always count on Italy. Italy is one of our strongest allies. One of the founding nations of the United Europe. And in the last couple of years, my impression was that there are some stereotypes and cliches in Germany, but also in Italy. And we have to overcome it. And that's why I also count on you, on the younger generation, young leaders across Europe, but in particular in Italy, but also in Germany. We need bridge builders, and we need people who can overcome these difficulties in our communication. And it's extremely key to learn from each other and to communicate in an open, frank, but also always trustful way. And maybe this is one of the major goals of this forum, to bring different ideas, different perceptions together, to build up a mutual understanding for Europe's future. And I would very much appreciate if you could deliver your ideas to the future conference we already established. After 8 years in office, I learned a lot about crisis. The European Union, Italy, Germany, we had to face so many crises, and they're not over now. The last one is the health crisis, the pandemic, which was and still is a threat for all of us. Migration, the social crisis, the financial crisis, the climate crisis. And there's just one answer. This is a European one. We have to strengthen Europe. And I would like to invite you to start a substantial debate about institutional reforms for Europe. We need a new legal basis for Europe. We have to learn, or we learned our lessons from the crisis, but that's not enough. Crisis management is important, but that's not enough. And we need a new step forward. We need a more integrated, more sovereign, more capable, more efficient, more democratic European Union, which is close to people's interest. And from my point of view, France, Italy, also Spain, Germany could start such an inspiring process. But we always should try to find allies in other areas of the European Union, in Central and Eastern Europe, in the Nordic countries. Some member states are extremely under pressure by nationalism and populism, and this is also a deep crisis for all of us. And the only chance to overcome nationalism, populism, is to fight for Europe as a union of common values. We are not just a single market. We are not just a currency union. We are first and foremost a union of common values: rule of law, independence of judiciary, freedom of the press, media pluralism, fight against corruption. These are the guiding principles for all of us. And this is an obligation for all of us to live up these principles in everyday life. And that's also one of the main challenges for Italy and for Germany, because we know this is not just a challenge on the global stage. This is also a challenge within the European Union. Poland, Slovenia, Hungary, there are many, many serious problems. And that's why we need some role models, not to destroy Europe, not to start a blame game. No, we have to strengthen the European Union. And maybe we can continue this dialogue, especially with young people, because this is a long and bumpy road. And I very much appreciate your inspiring ideas. And I hope I have the chance to talk to my colleagues, which had the privilege to discuss with you, to learn a bit more from you. But at the end, the only chance to stabilize Europe and to strengthen Europe is to stabilize the friendship and the partnership between Italy and Germany. This is the precondition for a success. And that's why I count on you. And that's why I would like to express my gratitude to you, because it is not, this is not normal in these challenging times of pandemic to come together, to gather together here in Berlin. Thank you so much. And I wish you a good time here in Berlin. And I hope to see you again in the near future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, State Minister Roth. We trust that you will take these convictions, which many of us will certainly share, you take them into the upcoming negotiations to form the next German government. You also mentioned bridge builders, and so it's my pleasure that Senator Laura Garavini will actually act as a bridge builder now, because you will speak in the languages of Dante and Goethe. Over to you.
Grazie mille. Wobei ich würde erst mit meinem deutschen Teil anfangen e poi passare all'italiano. Also zuerst freue ich mich wirklich besonders, hier beim Spinelli Forum zu sein, und vor allem freue ich mich, dass so viele junge, talentierte Frauen und Männer sich bereit erklärt, beim Forum mitzumachen. Ich freue mich besonders auch, dass die beiden Ministerien, italienische und deutsche Ministerium, unter eben dem Spinelli Forum sie involviert haben, hier mitzumachen. Und zwar Spinelli, wer ist dieser Mensch? Er war ein junger Mann, genau wie Sie. Ein junger Mann, der während des Faschismus für seine politische Meinung verhaftiert wurde, ins Gefängnis musste und dann verbannt wurde in eine damals völlig einsame Insel. Und trotzdem hat er sich nicht entmutigen lassen. Trotzdem hat er den Mut gehabt, eine Vision zu entwickeln, Europa zu schaffen. Genau in einer Zeit, als Menschen sich gegeneinander erschossen haben, hat er den Mut gehabt, an eine Welt zu denken, an einem Ort zu denken, eben Europa, wo man gemeinsam leben und handeln kann. Ich glaube, gerade diese Botschaft, gerade diese Vision ist heute noch wichtiger und aktueller als je. Wir befinden uns in einer gewissen Art und Weise wieder in einer ganz schwierigen Zeit. Wir haben jetzt die 1,5 Jahre Corona-Pandemie, sind die furchtbarsten nach der Kriegszeit. In Italien beispielsweise ist jeder 8. Italiener erkrankt worden an Covid. Über 130.000 Menschen gestorben. Viele kleine und mittlere Betriebe haben es nicht geschafft, die Wirtschaftskrise, die wegen der Pandemie entstanden ist, zu überleben. Sie sind pleite oder sie bangen um ihre Zukunft. Und trotzdem ist Europa gelungen, und Michael auch als Europaminister ist einer dieser Macher, einer dieser Protagonisten, ist Europa gelungen, aus der Krise, aus der schlimmsten Zeit der Corona-Pandemie doch das Richtige zu machen. Genau nach dem Altiero Spinelli Sinne. Genau mit der Entscheidung, nur gemeinsam kommen wir aus der Krise raus. Nur gemeinsam, nur solidarisch, nur mit solidarischen Maßnahmen wie der Next Generation EU, wie SURE, wie eine ganze Reihe von Maßnahmen, die getroffen worden sind. Nur mit so einer solidarischen Haltung können wir aus der Krise rauskommen. Und das ist, denke ich, genau die Botschaft, die wir brauchen. Das ist genau die Botschaft, die auch jetzt so aktuell und so notwendig ist. Und gerade deswegen auch ein Forum von jungen Leadern, wie Sie es sind, notwendig ist, weil die richtige Arbeit fängt gerade jetzt. Also jetzt geht es darum zu entscheiden, die Maßnahmen, die wegen der Pandemie getroffen worden sind, wie werden sie sich entwickeln in die Zukunft? Wie müssen wir eben Europa so veranstalten, so organisieren, damit Europa in die Zukunft blicken kann, damit Europa noch stärker sein kann. Deswegen brauchen wir gute Ideen, deswegen brauchen wir junge Leader, die, genauso wie der Minister Roth das genau sagte, auch die Fähigkeit haben, mit europäischen Werten sich auseinanderzusetzen, richtige politische Entscheidungen zu treffen, die genau in die Richtung gehen, die uns genau sagen, nur wenn wir gemeinsam handeln, schaffen wir es. Weil kein Land kann mehr als einzelne Insel tätig werden. Kein Land kann es mehr schaffen. Das haben wir in der Pandemie gesehen, aber das sehen wir auch in den unterschiedlichen Herausforderungen, die Sie in den Vorstellungen vorher vorgetragen haben. Also, heute ist eine Veranstaltung, die wirklich Mut macht. Für Europa und auch für mich persönlich. Also vielen herzlichen Dank. Molto velocemente in italiano. Io sono molto grata che il Ministero degli Esteri italiano e tedesco abbiano coinvolto questo bel corso, questo bel simposio sotto il motto dell'Altieri Spinelli Forum. Perché? Perché non va dimenticato chi Spinelli fosse. Ai tanti partecipanti italiani non c'è spesso bisogno di ricordarlo, ma lo stesso un concetto voglio dire, la grandezza di questo giovane uomo che nonostante il periodo più duro del suo confino durante il fascismo è riuscito ad ideare la visione dell'Europa. Quindi ci lascia un messaggio che ancora oggi è così attuale. Dobbiamo avere il coraggio delle idee, dobbiamo avere il coraggio di superare le frontiere e dobbiamo avere il coraggio di politiche solidali. Esattamente quel messaggio che comunque l'Europa, nonostante fosse lì per poter fallire, L'Europa è riuscita a metterla in atto durante il Covid, perché, e Michael Roth è uno degli attori, perché da Ministro dell'Europa anche lui ha dato un grosso contributo in questo senso, l'Europa è riuscita a mettere in atto politiche fortemente solidali, una per tutte il Next Generation EU. Adesso però inizia il lavoro, adesso si tratta di trasformare queste politiche in un qualcosa di strutturale o comunque che superino la fase emergenziale. Ecco perché una platea di giovani leader come voi sono estremamente utili, perché l'Europa ha bisogno di idee, ha bisogno di impulsi freschi come quelli che avete espresso nelle vostre presentazioni. Quindi grazie e buon lavoro. Oggi è una giornata che dà coraggio non solo all'Europa ma anche a tutti noi partecipanti. Grazie mille.
Vielen Dank, Frau Senatorin. Grazie mille per le sue parole. You really embodied with your speech how those two nations can work together, how they should work together, and you reminded us of the history of the name that carries that this forum carries and what inspiration he provided. Let's hear from the ambassador, Ambassador Armando Varricchio. You have been following the group already over the past 2 days. What are your impressions from this work? Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me here. Thank you, Secretary Roth, Senator Garavini, to all of you. Thank you, young leaders, for taking part in this initiative. As Ambassador of Italy, I'm particularly proud that we managed together to renew what Secretary Roth was defining as the special relationship between Italy and Germany. It is not by chance that you, both Italian and Germans, are here together. Yesterday, we had a chance to exchange a few words with almost each of you. I don't even know who is German and who is Italian, because we speak the same language. Our two countries have a special responsibility to bring forward the agenda. The times have changed since Altiero Spinelli and Ernesto Rossi were confined in the beautiful island turned into a prison. We managed to achieve incredible results. We tend to give for granted, but believe me, nothing was for granted. The fact that our respective nations managed to set aside century-old grievances and differences and forge a united Europe is a sort of a miracle. Our union, and I say our union, has been going through crisis to crisis, while at the same time setting strategic goals. We managed to create a single market, and then eventually we turned to the euro, this amazing new event of sharing and pouring a special sign of national sovereignty like a currency for the sake of a higher cause and a higher purpose. And then the reunification of Europe that unfortunately we label with a not very appealing and sexy word as enlargement. Now, last summer, Senator Garavini was recalling the fact that despite initial difficulties, we managed to adopt important measures to tackle one of the most serious crises and challenges that we had to face, the pandemic, by adopting a common policy to acquire vaccine, and then by adopting this very important new financial instrument, the Next Generation. What comes next? I was listening to your recommendation, your fourth set of recommendations. Certainly, there is a lack of coherence. I'm fully aware of that. But in the end, this is one of the most important prerogatives of our EU. We are different, we are diverse, we cherish our differences, we cherish our diversities. But we have to be able to pour together, to come together for a higher purpose. I also listen the ideas about how Europe might react to the competition between US and China. This is one of the defining issues of our time. And we do know that only as Europe, we will have the size, the energy, the resources to be active player and not just follower. But this is not easy. And this is not easy for two reasons. First, because now the level of our challenges keeps increasing by the day. And second, because we have to be honest amongst ourselves. We have to make our citizens aware of the importance of Europe. I do remember during my initial years as a young diplomat in Brussels, we were taking important decisions on behalf of Europe in a closed circuit. We did this for the right cause, and I'm very proud of that. But those times are over. We have to engage our citizens. We have to make sure that every single individual in the EU considers himself an important player and a decision maker. And this is where you have a special responsibility. This is where you, as a true believer in Europe, the active leaders and the future leader in Europe have to spread the message, because we do know that in many quarters, Europe is put into cause. There are many who are doubting about the real advantage of pouring our resources. So I think that our two countries have a special responsibility as a founding member of the EU. You, as young leaders and believers, have a special responsibility. I might pick up one of the expressions that I listened from the recommendation. You are the pathfinders. You are the ones who really have the special responsibility to promote this march towards future responsibility, and to use an expression that is part of our European jargon, something that I feel very much on, an ever closer Europe. Because only by doing so, we will be able to make our future convention about the future of Europe a success. And we will be able to make sure that our citizens are on board and follow this. This is just the first event. I'm the last to take the floor, so I'm the one between this meeting and then your departing flights, or your even better time here in this beautiful capital city of Berlin. Having listened to you, I feel reassured that the initiative that our two foreign offices have taken proved to be a success. I think that there is enough substance for a next event that we'll be hosting in Italy when the time is ripe. I hope as soon as possible, just to catch up the delay that you had to suffer, because this event was intended to be convened much ahead, but then we had to postpone. We're very happy and listening from the secretary that the German government, this German government and the future German government are fully on board. I can tell you that this is certainly what Rome is looking forward to. We really want to keep high the flame of European integration in the name of Altiero Spinelli, but we want also you to be able to spread this message, because now it's time for Europe to set new goals, not just managing crisis, as we have done very effectively over the summer, but setting new goals. Some of these goals have been highlighted in your recommendations. It will be our duty as government to take those recommendations on board and translate into action. You have done your homework. It's time for us to do ours. Thank you very much, e arrivederci in Italia.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ambassador, Senator, State Minister. As you have rightly said, some people have to leave to the airport, so we are grateful for the time that you have given us, that you've listened to the proposals, that you will receive the ideas from the group, and we're also happy to know that there will be a second edition of the Spinelli Forum next year in Rome. So thank you very much. Thanks to the group for all your work and efforts. Thanks for bonding over those 2 days and continuing to do so. And thanks to the foreign ministries of Italy and Germany for hosting.